Out to the 25. Frank Harris was splendid last year. Did everything for this team.
He certainly did. He's a left-handed quarterback, but he is the quintessential player for this UTSA program that has literally gone from bare bones to being one of the fastest developing and growing programs in the country. Yesterday we asked him, Rich, do you feel responsible for what it is you built? He said, hey man, I'm just grateful to be here. The early part of his career was marred with injuries, but when he's healthy, he's as good as there is in the country.
And he has three terrific wide receivers who are back. Brian Clark, Jonathan Cephas, and the electric Zachary Franklin. This is Franklin with the catch. He's going to lose a yard. Alex Hogan with a stop. And one question for the Roadrunners. How do you replace running back Sincere McCormick?
Well, you do it by committee. They brought in Traylon Smith, a transfer from Arkansas, number 28. But Brendan Brady's going to be the guy that gets the start here today. He's versatile. He can catch out of the backfield. Doesn't have long speed, but he can hurt you.
No gain on the play. Second down 10. And this is Brady's first touch. Chidozie Nwankwa, the nose guard, made the stop. This is a really good Houston defense. Where's the strength of this defense?
It's in their front seven. These guys have some creatures. They're equal parts velociraptor, bull weevil, honey badger. These guys flat out get after the quarterback. As Sherry said in the open, they'll play 12-13 defensive linemen, which gives them a heck of advantage because they're always fresh.
44 sacks last year for this defense, so much so that they earned the nickname midway through the season, Sack Avenue. 100 tackles for loss.
Interesting decision here. They motion Brady out of the backfield to go empty.
They're down 8. Time for Harris. Quick release. Not enough for the first down. Caught there. Jace Rogers capturing Jonathan Cephas. It'll be 3 and out for UTSA.
That's about as well as you can start on the road defensively, and it was featured by their defensive backs. A lot of different players in that defensive backfield. A couple corners obviously went to the NFL, but between Rogers and Hogan tackling on first down, they're a big reason why, and one of the question marks of a defense that doesn't have many.
That is Tank Dell. You want to stick around to watch this guy. He's one of the best slot receivers, if not the best slot receiver in the country. Returning kicks this year. This Dean, Australian punter, wobbles that one, bounces back into the Houston bench. Now the Cougars going to have great field position to open their 2022 season offensively. Clayton Tune has been there a while and put up huge numbers.
He certainly did. It was really interesting sitting down with his head coach, Dana Holgerson, yesterday, who said that he worked with quarterback guru Jordan Palmer in the offseason. He used the analogy of being a golfer where they're really in tune to what their bodies are, but that gave him a keen understanding of what it is he's required to do. And Holgerson says he expects this last year for Clayton Tune to unquestionably be his best.
Tune in the pocket with time. Now flushed. Carter, flag is down. Carter is down after a gain of maybe 2. Nick Troy Fortune made the stop, probably a hold.
It's going to be on the left tackle, Patrick Paul. It was excellent protection up front. As an offensive lineman, you got to let go.
Holding. Offense, number 76. 10 yards. The previous spot, still first down.
This is an offensive line unit that really struggled last season, giving up sacks up front. It's really good protection, but you have your hands outside of the frame of the defender right there. He's got to let him go there. Had he done it, they would not have thrown that flag. Got to be smarter on play 1.
Dana Holgerson does not call the plays. Shannon Dawson is calling the plays. That started in game 10 of last year. Question is, can Houston run the football? Tejon Henry with the carry. Tank Dell on the outside. He certainly is a weapon, and Toon loves to throw it his way.
Yeah, and you mentioned whether or not Houston can run the football. That's one of the misnomers about Dana Holgorsen of the air raid family tree, is that he wants to run the football. And in fact, they were 6th in the country last year. Houston was on offense in time of possession, right behind Navy. So even though they throw it a lot, they like to control the football and run it on the ground.
The words air raid and time of possession rarely go together. Second down. Toon again in the pocket. Throws short. Caught there. That's Henry. And Henry's going to pick up about 7 yards, but still be short of the first down. It's a defense that has a lot of talent coming back from a championship team.
Yeah, but they lost 6 key defenders from a season ago, including guys like Clarence Hicks and Antonio Parks, Tariq Wooden. But you're right, they have some creatures up front, and I think a real key in this game is this situation right here. Can the Roadrunners win their matchup at the line of scrimmage and put pressure on Clayton Toon?
You saw those signs, quiet offensive look. Dana Holgorsen this week claimed that UTSA pumped crowd noise into the Alamo Dome, and that riled up the locals here in San Antonio. Everybody coming. Toon is hit and drops. Trey Moore led the charge.
This is just an excellent job of getting after the quarterback, coming from that second level, almost on a green dog. They bring 6, and just a great job of defeating the block of the running back, Tajon Henry. That's an excellent job. I always like when defenses force running backs to prove to me that they can block early. There, Houston didn't, and they're punting as a result.
Lane Wilkins. Fair catch called for. Fair catch made. Both defense.
But if you're a coach, you would much rather say whoa than giddy up, so I'll take that from their left tackle.
I mean, this feels like a November pivotal game. Reminding ourselves this is the season opener for both of these teams, so penalties and stuff like that can happen. And now a flag and a procedure call.
False start. Offense, number 2. 5 yards from the previous spot. Still second down.
Jeff Traylor. And it was Jonathan Cephas. Hank Johns is our referee. This is a officiating crew out of the American Conference, which is playing a pivotal role here today because Houston is in the AAC. They're leaving for the Big 12. UTSA is in Conference USA. They are headed to the American next year. Draw play, and it's blown up. Smith is caught. He's going to lose 5 yards. And this UTSA drive is going nowhere fast. Donovan Newton, captain, inside linebacker, made the stop.
More importantly, it's one of the country's best pass rushing defenses from a season ago.
Third down in a bunch here. Got to get all the way out to the 34-yard line for a first down. And they play it safe, straight up the middle. Traylon Smith. Out to the 6-yard line. They won 12 games last year at UTSA. They lost 2 offensive linemen in the first 11 snaps of this season. And still they were able to be in the top 25 for a great run of 7 weeks.
Just one of the incredible storylines of Jeff Traylor's team was the cohesion that they were able to do, creating that depth and finding a way to create some continuity in a position in football that needs it the most.
Tank Dell sitting back at his 35-yard line. This is a better kick here. Dell has to back up. It was 26. Head of steam. He is explosive, and Dell up the middle. Rips one off. Flag is down. Dell to the 10. Dell to the end zone. The flag sits at the 34. Holgorsen not real happy, and it looks like this is coming back.
During the return, Illegal block in the back. Number 12. Foul enforced. 10 yards from spotting the foul. First down, Houston.
74 yards had it counted.
It's going to be a block in the back right here at the top upper part of your screen, right there. That's just enough to give Tank Dell the room that he needed. On punt returns, it's much more important to be quick than it is to be fast. That's a new wrinkle this year for Houston. Having him return punts is something he'll very likely do on the next level in the NFL next season.
Houston's trying to replace the best kick returner in the country last year. Marcus Jones took a couple of kickoffs and a couple of punts back for scores last year.
And this is just a killer. Both of these teams suffering from killer penalties early on. UTSA offensively went the wrong way. Now special teams hurts the Cougars.
Let's see if Clayton Tune in Houston can settle down. Tazon Henry up the middle, and Henry rips off a run of 15 yards.
Now, if Houston can continue to run the football with this amount of effectiveness, they're going to be unstoppable. And now, lining up to the line of scrimmage, using a little bit of tempo, which is rare.
This time, Henry is swallowed up. He's going to lose 2 yards.
Rich, coming into this game, the matchups between these offensive lines and these respective front sevens was going to be a key. This time, after getting gashed and blocked on first down, the second play of this series, the Roadrunners respond.
Trevor Harbinson in on that hit. Brandon Campbell in the backfield for Houston.
Tank Dell in the slot,
where he is so dangerous. And Campbell is taken down. Nick Troy Fortune for his safety spot. Jamal Ligon on the hit as well. It's his third down and a long 9.
I like that play call there. It wasn't blocked very well. UTSA read it, but running a draw on a 2nd and 12. As a play caller, you're trying to give yourself a makeable third down. This third down, remember, they didn't want to get scrambled on third down. This is one of the keys that we pointed out at the beginning of the game for this Roadrunner defense.
Stacy Snead now in the backfield with Clayton Tune. 3-man rush. Snead on a screen. Cuts back. Has some green. And slides down right at the sticks. Clifford Chapman made the hit. And I think he's got enough for the first down. He does.
Beautiful play design there. Basically like a quick screen. They ran the receivers off on that side of the defense. UTSA over pursues, and Houston's on the move.
So we've already seen 3 different running backs for Houston. Henry, Campbell, and Snead on that 19-yard catch and run. Just shy of midfield. Play action for 2. Steps up. Lost the ball. And it is recovered. Well, not yet. Still a scramble. Who's got it? UTSA. Houston lost only 2 fumbles all of last year. And they lose one here early in their opener.
But turnovers a season ago, and this time, or last year, it was interceptions. This is exactly what they need. Just a great job of coming around the defensive line, making their presence felt. And talk about effort. This defense is based off effort. And right there at the very end, the helmets around the football for Clayton Tune, or for UTSA, were the difference right there. That's the sort of effort that Jess Lepp, the defensive coordinator, was wanting to see in the break that UTSA needed.
Dadrian Taylor finally ended up on the football. And now the Roadrunners offensively. Harris scrambling and nowhere to go. Roadrunners have not moved forward. They've moved backwards their first 2 possessions.
They've been their worst enemy. You take a look at what it is they were doing. They've had a couple good plays to start that last drive, but then it was penalty, and miscues had them marching in the wrong way, and that's understandable. This place is electric. It's game one. It's an in-state rival that's ranked, but you have to be able to settle yourself down and execute.
Second down, 9. High throw, incomplete. Now, this is an offense that prides itself on dictating tempo, and it feels like they are completely out of whack right now.
And sometimes you can settle your offense down if you use tempo because you're not thinking. With the delays that we've seen when you have receivers jumping off sides, sometimes you're just out of sync because of the crowd noise and the excitement. You have to get yourself in a rhythm no matter what you do.
We're down in 9. How many sack Avenue brings here. 5-man rush. Harris is hurt, hits, and a flip and a catch. Clark short of the first down, and a decision for Jeff Traylor here on 4th down and about 2.
I think he's going to go for it, and I think he should. UTSA felt that they were bigger up front than the athletic front 7 of Houston. Here's a perfect opportunity to prove it.
Saw Doug Belt, talented defensive coordinator for Houston. Brady in the backfield. To get to the 40. Harris, little slant. It's bobbled and dropped. Zachary Franklin doesn't drop many. That was Alex Hogan on the coverage. And Houston's got to get the football right. Play calling duties last year, 10th game. Dana Holgorsen afterwards said, I wish I'd have done that sooner because it gave him a much clearer picture as a head coach of everything, he said. Not a great snap from center. Brandon Campbell finds his way through the right side for about 5 yards. This is going to be 3rd down and about 5.
You're right. Great job by Toon of getting it. It throws the timing of the play off, but still to be able to manage positive yards by Campbell out of that situation was excellent.
Campbell in motion. Toon. Deep throw. And it is incomplete. Flags go down. Matthew Golden, Kalichiwa Chukwu on the coverage for UTSA.
Pass interference. Defense, number 6. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
He's looking for the ball, equal rights to the ball, but he's not playing for the ball. So even though there's no face guarding, you're impeding the wide receiver's ability to get to the pass, and as unfortunate and as well positioned as he was, that's a flag that's going to get thrown every single time.
38-yard line. Another big penalty, but no points as a result yet for either team. Toon has better speed than you think. And he's upended at the 31-yard line after a gain of 7.
We talked about his mobility. He took a shot on the previous play that was penalized, but a great job recognizing from up top in the box that the defensive end was crashing down, and Toon took advantage of it perfectly.
4.5 speed in the 40, and as we've talked about, but it's worth noting that hamstring injury last year made him a better quarterback, according to Dana Holgorsen. Because it took away his ability to scramble, so he had to become a pure pocket quarterback, something he had never done before. So now that he's healthy, he's even more dangerous. Second down and 3. To stay on the ground with Campbell. He's right in the step. Trevor Harmonson, the stop for UTSA.
Really interesting, Rich, what's going on up front between these two different units. UTSA has the ability to play big and bow their neck to prevent the running game, but they're being so aggressive, they're coming upfield, and Houston's been able to take advantage of it. Here's a 3rd and short opportunity at home with a raucous crowd. Can they find a way to get themselves off the field?
Half a yard to get. It's close. Second surge may have the first down, and it does. Good second effort there. Nice play call by Shannon Dawson, and the drive continues.
The back looks like he ran right to the back of his offensive lineman there, but he kept his feet and his balance, and Campbell, for the second time in a row, does a good job of what we call running behind his pads. Upon contact, he falls forward. That was the difference.
Empty backfield here. Let's see if UTSA brings pressure. Toon, quick screen. Carter the catch in space, but that space evaporates quickly with Nick Troy Fortune, who's made a handful of tackles already, coming up making the stop.
I was a little worried there because they were stacked and they had a corner over there, but the safety was almost on the hash. That means that Fortune has to be able to make this tackle, and he does. This is one-on-one with open space, and boom, Fortune comes up for the short gain. That's excellent for a team, Rich, that doesn't practice tackling during the week.
Jeff Traylor does not want his team hitting during the week. They do a lot of drills to simulate it in an attempt to just try to stay healthy. Sneed. This is going to be about 3 yards. The pile still moving. Sneed still moving. Bring up third down and a long 3. Jamal Ligon the first to hit him. Ligon the junior out of Tyler, Texas. Another third down. Toon keeps it, bounces outside, dives for the first down. Clifford Chapman made the stop.
Talking with defensive coordinator Jess Lepp, he said, man, these guys are so good on third down. Even when you got them covered, they can still hurt you, and that's exactly what 3 did there.
Finally, a sustained drive. Houston and Clayton Toon moving the football. The Bengals.
And this is a great job of Toon of reading what's there. He wanted to go play side, but UTSA covered it extremely well. He tried to come backside to Brown on his read, sets his feet, drops a dime, and Brown drops what likely was a touchdown.
Second and 10. Movement. Season opener combined with a loud environment. We've seen flags aplenty.
False start. Offense. Number 72 and 74. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Let's check in with Sherry Burris. Sherry?
Well, guys, talk about emotions in this game. I saw UTSA defensive coordinator Jess Lepp pull his guys over, motioning all eyes on me. He said, don't get in the face of the Cougars player. Celebrate with one another. Show your heart with one another, but don't make it so chippy, getting in their faces in this one, Rich.
Thank you, Sherry. The 210 on his cap, that's the rallying cry. That's the area code for San Antonio. Second down. Man open, caught there. That's Manjack, and he's to the 11. About 2 yards short of the first down. Dadrian Taylor made the stop. The transfer from USC, Joseph Manjack.
One of the reasons why Houston has done such a good job on third down is what we just saw there on second down. They've been 3rd and 5 and less consistently, and here they are again. UTSA, I'm coming after him. Make this ball come out quickly. 2 tight ends set. They might try to go big boy ball here.
3rd and 3. Toon. Corner. Open. Caught. Tank. Dell. Touchdown. The first of many you expect this year.
This was the call the whole way. Toon was looking for his man who's deadly down. He's got that 1 foot down, got possession of the football. That's a clear touchdown, and one of the first targets we've seen for Dell today ended up with 6 points. Athletic and acceleration and separation are the best part of their game. You can't stand flat-footed if you're Clifford Chapman, especially on one of the best slot receivers in college football. Talking with head coach Dana Holgorsen, who's coached some doozies, he said Nathaniel Tank Dell is the best slot receiver I've ever coached.
Yeah, Wes Welker, Danny Amendola, both at Texas Tech.
Tavon Austin.
Those are three pretty good slot receivers. And he says Dell's better than all of them.
You may be right.
Now, can Will Stein get this offense rolling? Stein, the offensive coordinator. Houston's defense has been swarming. And that carry goes nowhere. Second down and about 12 now. Let's check back in with Sherry Burris.
Guys, I've been keeping an eye on UTSA lineman Mekhi Party. Back on the bench. Teammates showing him support, but he went back to the locker room. He was in there for about 20 minutes. He went back with the trainer. You may remember he went down. He was grabbing at that right knee. When he went back into the locker room, he had that right knee brace off, but that base back on, his right knee wrapped as he sits on the bench and watching.
All right, Sherry, thank you. Second down, 12. Another flag. Actually, a lot of them. And maybe a false start again.
It's maybe on Houston.
Offside. Defense. Number 10. 5 yards in the previous spot. Second down.
Chidozie Nwankwa.
There he is right there. Been so impressed with watching these guys play. Wonk was only 5'11", 290 pounds. Made 9 starts, including each of the last games a season ago. He's a little bulldozer in there, but when you're right over the ball, you can't do that.
Second down, 7. Blitz comes. Harris has yet to get out of the pocket and do damage. Fires on the run. Tumbling catch by Clark right at midfield, and that's a first down.
I like the decision there to move the release point. It was actually blocked pretty well. Harris didn't have to bail. He chooses to, and that's exactly the space that they needed.
Now they're trying to dictate tempo here. Ball's loose. May have been down. Right now, Houston's got the football.
And that was Derek Parrish that was in on the hit with that pass on his right arm.
Really on the field as the runner was down. Second down. Before the ball came out.
We need to take a look at that, but that's still, even if it stays UTSA's ball, you get lathered up if you're Houston. Good job of closing. He loses his feet. Gosh, that is close. His knee's down right there.
Rolling on the
He
field.
still got possession of the ball. That good hand that Parrish has
review.
was awfully active on that play. The Roadrunners going to hold on to this one, but man, was that close.
Both these defenses last year were ball hawks, whether it was in the air or on the ground.
That was something that UTSA was so good at, Rich, was forcing fumbles. You don't just naturally do that. It's a very unnatural thing, which means you have to practice it. You have to be keyed on to do that, and that's exactly what their defensive coordinator has been working on.
It does look like that right knee had come down. Now, the call on the field holds weight, enormous weight. The call on the field was he was down and no fumble. So you have to be 100% sure to overturn it.
Correct. I think the low angle look that we looked at is the one where that right knee, to me, looked like it was on the turf just before the incredibly athletic Derek Parrish puts his good hand in there and punches it out. That's what I'm seeing right there, and that's when the ball comes out.
Boy, if that knee did touch.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Second down, UTSA.
It wasn't down very long, but it was down. You could just see almost like the knee punched the turf and bounced right back up.
Yeah, and given the scenario that you mentioned early to start this game, neither fan base can accuse this officiating crew of showing favoritism.
We saw UTSA at the end of last year at their offensive best in the Conference USA Championship game. What is different about them right now? Because their offense is really struggling.
Well, they haven't been able to run the football consistently, and I'm not surprised with as athletic as Houston's front seven is.
Got to get the ball in the hands of their receivers. That's Cephas, makes the catch and breaks loose. Under the 10, into the end zone. Touchdown, Roadrunners. Now that's more like it. 51 yards.
You live by the blitz, you die by the blitz. UTSA makes the Rich, you were talking to me about what was wrong with their offense?
Well, I mean, they have three terrific wide receivers, Clark, Cephas, and Franklin. And it's Cephas, who's kind of the Swiss Army knife of the wide receiver room, who takes it 51 yards. Both offenses, both quarterbacks finding their rhythm. Frank Harris, Jonathan Cephas. 51 yards later, UTSA all tied up with number 24, Houston.
West between Ohio State and my alma mater, Notre Dame's going to do. But man, Utah going on the road to Florida. A lot of people, myself included, think that Utah has a chance to win the Pac-12. And boy, would they need that if they can go on the road and beat Florida, who's feeling a lot of energy with Billy Napier coming on board.
Pretty much dead even so far here. This is Stacy Snead. And Snead gets out to the 29. You mentioned that even with a lot of air raid principles, this is a time of possession team. They were 6th best in the country last year. Their touchdown drive, 58 yards, 11 plays, 5 minutes, 17 seconds. That's like 2 drives for the normal air raid offense.
They were 6th in the country, Rich, behind Navy last year. Navy.
Second down, Snead. And he's bulldogged down by Christian Clayton. Another third down here. And this has been a difference maker, as you pointed out. Houston's been really good on third down.
Outstanding.
Snead in motion. Tune with time. Fire, sideline, juggled. Did he catch it?
Looked like a double bobble to me.
Yeah, they're calling it a catch. Matthew Golden, the freshman, on the sideline. Let's look at it.
Feels a catch for a first down.
Opportunity by Tune. Oh my gosh.
There's a bobble, but he had the toe. Was the toe still dragging?
It certainly looked like it. He looks down at his toes, and maybe that's why he loses the football. But his toes stay in as he
really on the field.
They're going to look at this.
Catch.
Demonstrates possession of the catch down to the ground. I mean, regardless of the ruling of this play, what an outstanding effort by Clayton Tune in this receiving corps.
Matthew Golden, he's a local kid out of Houston. Oof.
God, it's so close.
Yeah.
It's going to be his right toe, if it's anything, as he spins around. And there might have been
targeting.
Yes, exactly. Good eyes, Rich.
Boy, that's obscured. You can't see that toe from there. Again, call on the field holds enormous weight. The call is catch. I don't know that I've seen any look that would overturn that yet.
Both feet in. It's where he has possession.
It looks down. That toe looks like it's dragging.
I think this is an outstanding catch.
Watch the end of this play.
That's helmet to helmet right there. But the booth does have the ability.
I was just going there.
They do have the ability to call it, and that would be a big, big loss for this secondary that's had its hands full so far.
I'm searching for the right word. Violent is not it. Was the hit impactful enough to be targeted?
Is the defensive player, was the crown of the helmet. It was forcible contact to the head and neck area. It checks all the boxes you need for targeting.
So we've been watching and thinking about catch or no catch, toe in, toe out. And there's a possibility that the replay booth sees the end of this play and may call targeting. I think the toe dragged enough.
This kid's a freshman.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Houston.
No targeting.
They said it stands.
Not enough to overturn.
But what an incredible play by Matthew Golden. The concentration there and the wherewithal. That would have been a catch in the NFL from the foot standpoint. Can't really tell what a catch is and isn't in the NFL anymore. But man, how about Clayton Tune buying time there? That was a really nice job of UTSA, but the athleticism of 3 to Golden was the difference.
How about Houston now 5 of 6 on 3rd down? It keeps the drive alive at the 41. Snead escapes the first tackle. Fortune brings him down at the 40. It's a loss of 1.
Great penetration right here coming through. That's what you have to do. You redirect and penetrate on the offensive line, and you have nothing to do. Great job by Brandon Matterson getting there first. Trey Moore there for the cleanup. That's the sort of front 7 D-line play that they want. Now you've got a 2nd down that if you're Houston, from a play call standpoint, you want to get half of this up so you've got a makeable 3rd. Also a good area to take a shot.
Little screen, caught there. That's Christian Trahan, the tight end. It's going to be short of the first down to the 47-yard line. It's a gain of about 6.
This is the story of the game here, is Houston doing an incredibly good job of creating 3rd and makeable 3s or less for them.
Day nerves. We've seen flags and dropped footballs.
That's a concentration drop.
Get to the 25-yard line. In fact, Jeff Traylor said for like the first few weeks they were in the top 25, and he kept doing national interviews. They were calling them U. They certainly know now in the college football world. Brady, the receiver, makes the catch. It's going to be a gain of about 4. It's going to be a 3rd down and short. Look at this guy, a high school coaching legend, so much so that at Gilmer High School they've named the stadium after him on his 3rd down and short, right on the stick. Jamari Caldwell made the stop. And that's going to be a 1st down. Harris, no big scrambles yet. Little flip, and that's incomplete. Houston's done a terrific job of pressuring and yet containing Frank Harris.
Harris does a good job getting outside of the pocket, but he has nowhere to throw. But right here at the end, really nice job by Clark getting himself back to the football. But that's the 2nd time this game we've seen an errant pass that's thrown too high for the intended receiver. Excuse me, that was Franklin.
2nd down 10. Harris steps to the rush. Now he's loose. Out to the 44. That is the Frank Harris that electrified Conference USA last year.
And what it also does is it slows down your D-line, because if they get split like that, they're going to rush a little bit slower. If you're a quarterback that can threaten with your legs, it puts everybody on notice defensively.
Harris out of Schertz, Texas, which is a suburb here of San Antonio. At the 44-yard line. Frank Harris and UTSA right now dictating the tempo of this drive, forcing a timeout. And completing another pass. Franklin with the catch. That's another 12 yards. Franklin's still on his feet. Franklin's got 3 more yards after that. To the 31-yard line. It's a 14-yard catch.
We've seen several times aggressive Houston defenders coming up to try to take away the football. If you're Franklin, put that ball away. Put both hands on the ball much more quickly. Look how many white helmets and how quickly they're getting there. That's a turnover, fumble waiting to happen.
Harris, little head fake. Escapes the pocket. Flips one. Incomplete. Flag is down. Brady out of the backfield was the intended receiver. The flag's back at the 35 in holding territory.
Holding. Offense. Number 64. 10 yards in the previous spot. Still first down.
So that's the backup, Ernesto Almaraz. Remember, he's playing in place of Mekhi Hart, so now they're on their 3rd tackle. He's got that hand across and is impeding his progress, but more importantly, Almaraz gets the hold and gets put out the game. Now Frankie Martinez, number 68, who was supposed to be the swing interior player, backup center guard, has to slide out to right tackle against this ferocious front 7.
Second drive of the game, Mekhi Hart, the right tackle, went down. First down and a bunch. Brendan Brady, the senior, replacing Sincere McCormick, 2-time Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year. 3rd-team All-American. The running back was a free agent sign of the Las Vegas Raiders, injured in minicamp. And the question that Jeff Traylor said to us yesterday was, can we run it without Sincere? Harris escapes again to the 30. A burst. He is gonna score! Touchdown! Wow! Acceleration, 38 yards.
When you have a quarterback this mobile, he's an eraser. The right tackle, the backup, Frankie Martinez got beat. But when you have a quarterback who's that athletic, he can make you right, and Zero does that way more times than he doesn't.
Jared Sackett for the extra point. We told you at the outset, with his arm, with his legs, with his smarts, Frank Harris, UTSA.
One of the great things about the sport of football is it's a true team sport. We all saw what Frank Harris did, but let's keep our eye right here on wide receiver Trayvon Bradley. When he sees that his quarterback is coming up, he turns and immediately goes to work. That was the key block that sprung the touchdown, and it's just that sort of effort that Jeff Traylor has formed this team around.
You can see Harris, 2 carries. Once he punctures the pocket, 52 yards on those mad dashes. He's 9 of 12.
Yep.
Matthew Golden's got speed. Matthew Golden spun around. No flag. We are in the 2-1-0, and that has significance, right, Sherry Burris?
Yes, it does. You see it here, the 2-1-0 triangle of toughness. It's the culture pillars for UTSA, and it's really their identity and their brand. Every Roadrunner player and coach guy we talked to, they referred back to this. It's integrity, passion, mental and physical toughness, selfless and perfect effort, and the highest honor, getting to where the numbers 2-1-0, you see those 6 guys right there. And even here on the sideline, I'm seeing players make triangles with their hands on the sideline, and after big plays, they're banging that triangle at the end of their bench.
All right, Sherry, it's loud in here right now. UTSA scored the last 14 points. Tune is back. Has time. out of the pocket, hit from behind and dropped. Great coverage, and the sack a result, a loss of 4. Brandon Brown with the sack.
They only rushed 4 here. He's the lifeblood of this unit. He's played with injuries for most of his career. He's as grateful as it gets. And you take a look, after such a slow start, the Roadrunners are meeting.
And a big part of the ascension of this football program rests on his shoulders. A local kid who wanted to stay home did. And when he arrived at UTSA, the facilities weren't great. The team was, still anonymous. Not anymore. The facilities are awesome. They just opened up a new football complex just up the road on campus. And the nation knows about UTSA. Harris flush, fires, sideline, caught there. That's DeCorian Clark. Knocked out of bounds at the 22-yard line. And they are dictating tempo again.
That was really soft coverage that time. Art Green, the corner, looked like he slipped. UTSA is having a lot of success with these hitch routes, these curls, these very short controlled passing game. Seems to be working extremely well for him.
Traylon Smith in the back. And he almost burst through. Going to pick up 9 yards. It's a well-designed play, that bubble screen. And when you get Cardenas out there at 275, that's a load.
And a much better job this time by UTSA, because that was the very first play they ran to start the game, but Houston was all over it.
Smith gets the carry, weaves his way for a first down and a 4-yard pickup.
This is where you're starting to hum. A nice mix of run and pass. You get a big pickup on first down, convert the sticks, and now you're wide open.
Harris's throw over the middle, on target, in the Houston territory. That's Zachary Franklin. And the sticks move, and so do the Roadrunners.
Nice job by Franklin pushing this route vertical to create some space behind the linebacker before he broke it inside. He stepped on the DB's toes, breaks his route off, and Harris feeds him perfectly. I will say, though, Harris throwing the football looks a little labored to me. It doesn't have as much zip as we've seen. It looks like he's having to put a lot of mustard into it. They are hitting their target, but not with the velocity that we're used to.
Receiver stacked. And that carry, Traylon Smith is going to get about a yard. What we're really seeing is Will Stein, the offensive coordinator, trying to get the football to his playmakers. We saw Cephas with the catch and run for a touchdown. Takorian Clark with a big catch. Zachary Franklin as well. Those three guys, he told us yesterday, have to touch the ball a lot. Harris fires into the ground. Avoids the sack. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 10.
Anthony Jones was coming off this right edge. Remember, that's a backup offensive lineman, Ernesto Almaraz. Oh, excuse me, that is Frankie Martinez is in the game. He's a center guard. That's asking a lot to put him at the right tackle position. He's basically their 3rd string right tackle, and Houston is very, very close of taking advantage of it.
It's been quiet on Sack Avenue right now. They do not have a sack in this football game, and UTSA has 3. And again, UTSA has tempoed Houston into burning another timeout. We'll return to San Antonio after this.
Here's to those with homework this summer, group projects, and workshops. Here's to those with morning meetings, networking events, and Zoom sessions. Here's to those with summer jobs and the truck that goes to work with them. Ram, built to serve.
Right now, get 0% financing for 72 months, plus no monthly payments for 90 days on the 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorn.
If you plug in Sack Avenue, Houston, Texas to your phone, the map's going to take you to the defensive line. Look at what they did last year.
That pressure rate of 36.6 means every 3rd play they get pressure, and we've seen that here. But that timeout, to your point, Rich, that UTSA forced Houston to take again because of tempo was huge, because it allows the offensive staff, the Roadrunners, to discuss what this 3rd down call is and whether or not this is 4th down territory here in the 2nd quarter with under 2 minutes to play.
Brendan Brady in the backfield. 3rd down and 10. 3-man rush. Harris going to air it out. Franklin in the pattern, and it's broken up. Art Green, the senior, the anchor of that defensive secondary. He's the boundary corner. Makes a nice play.
And he was in press man coverage, and he won this matchup. And here's UTSA out on the field, showing that they're going to go for it here on 4th down. Now, they may be trying to draw Houston off sides to get closer, maybe a makeable field goal. Where they're going. Okay, pooch punt.
That would be a pooch punt. And that's a gorgeous pooch punt. That is enormous.
Beautiful. Perfect.
That's Brendan Brady.
Those 2 timeouts loom large when you got to go the long way because your defense wasn't ready. mentioned that Houston burned both their timeouts. They may need this third one to get their field goal on the unit. That makes play calling much more challenging. If you're UTSA, you can't give up a big play.
On the ground, it's a hard-earned and very valuable 4 yards on the carry. Brandon Campbell, the redshirt freshman, transferred from USC, came back home to play at Houston. Hasn't played a lot of football in the last few years.
No, and Houston being very lackadaisical, electing to take the conservative route here and run the clock out. Probably smart, especially considering they get the ball back to start the second half.
If they don't gain ground here, you would expect UTSA maybe to take one of their own.
Absolutely. Can't be too conservative, so this play call here is important.
Keep it on the ground, but that is going to be a first down.
All right, now after Houston, you can get into hurry-up mode and see if you can let some of these talented receivers, particularly number 1, make something happen.
I don't think there's anything hurry-up about this.
No. They had to get the first down to give themselves some room, so you understand the conservative play call. 2 back-to-back runs. They don't want any extra miscues, especially on this part of the field. They'll get a little bit of sleep with the UTSA.
Staying on the ground, Brandon Campbell. In the first half, first quarter, both offenses struggled a bit. Houston scored first, and then UTSA cut loose in the second quarter and has a 14-7 halftime lead over the number 24 team in the country, Houston. Big crowd, and down to Sherry Burris. Sherry?
Rich, Jeff Traylor was calm and measured as I asked how his team was able to score 14 unanswered points, and he credited his team's effort. He says he really likes the way they're getting to Tank Dell, and they want to keep limiting Tune out there, but he doesn't care if it's the run game or pass game that carries them. They just need to score. But for Dana Holgorsen, he said they need to settle in on offense. He knew this was going to be a fourth quarter game, and really looking to his defense to get Frank Harris down. As you guys mentioned, no sacks for them. They credit themselves being Sack Avenue. Right now, a lot of real estate on Sack Avenue with 0 so far in the first half.
Yeah, you're right, Sherry. Not much traffic there. John Henry in the backfield, first carry, gets through to the 30-yard line. It's a 5-yard pickup. First half possessions. That 58-yard drive, the touchdown drive. Tank Dell making a touchdown catch. 5:17 of clock. And as Aaron pointed out in the first half, it's an anomaly of this offense. They are air raid principals, but they are a time of possession team. 6th in the nation at that last year.
3 of their first half drives were 3 and outs.
Henry again. Both coaches in our meetings these last 2 days really hammered home. We need to run the football. We need to run the football. And you can. It just feels like Houston is holding on to that right now and still trying to do it.
And not a bad strategy. They're certainly doing a better job of it than UTSA. UTSA's quarterbacks allowed them to go. But here's the story of the game. 3rd down. Houston has been much better than UTSA. They would need this one here to start the second half.
They're down 4. Tune looking still over the middle. It's incomplete. Broken up. Terrific play by Trey Moore, the redshirt freshman linebacker.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the 3rd straight 3 and out for this offense. Credit Houston defensively. Tight coverage there. The quarterback, Tune, gives the tight end an option to catch the football, but the blanket coverage that time by Trey Moore forced the ball out.
And there's another 3 and out, and Lane Wilkins is back on for the punt. Cephas. How it started and how it's going is a popular theme on social media, right? Well, look, how it started, not real well. How it's going, 178 yards on their last 3 possessions.
The factor there was Frank Harris's legs. You back out those two big runs that he's had, which total 52 of their 69 rushing yards. UTSA non-quarterback Frank Harris rushing yards are 17 on 11 different carries. They've got to be able to get that fixed because you cannot rely on your quarterback to keep pulling rabbits out of the hat.
Inside screen, Cephas, and he's hit the finale of the 2022 American Cornhole League Pro Shootout Series. So he will take home the hardware only on CBS. Houston have had some problems.
Yeah, this pulled a touchdown off the board with the illegal block in the back on the punt return. And then the dropsies are drive killers by guys that have proven to have good hands and making plays. But credit this UTSA defense for tight coverage in some of those situations. Houston's got to settle down and get things going here.
Clayton Tune. Oh, penetration and a big hit by Dadrian Taylor.
Great call by Jeff Lepp, the defensive coordinator. As soon as the motion comes, he comes off the backside here and follows the motion unblocked for the tackle for loss. That's film study and knowing what situations are to make that happen. Really nice job by the Roadrunner D on first down.
With second down, Tune enveloped. Joe Evans, Lamont McDougal.
Just left the defensive coordinator. They said we want to collapse the pocket. We want to keep Tune there. We don't want to let him escape. And that was a tremendous job by all four rushers getting themselves home. McDougal will get the credit, but everybody was involved.
Blitz comes. Tune with time. Firing middle. Broken up. Clifford Chapman.
This ball was intended for Matthew Golden, but it was thrown behind him, so he has to turn and use great body control to try to lean back to get it. And because it was thrown behind, it was just enough to allow Clifford Chapman to come in for the pass break up there. And Houston's punt. It's crazy, Rich. This offense is stacked with talent, but they're missing something. They have the ingredients, but they have to find some salt.
Anybody ever envisioned that being here in San Antonio even 5 or 6 years ago? But UTSA, who came out of seemingly nowhere with Jeff Traylor, who'd been an assistant coach in a lot of places in college football, was a high school coaching legend here for many years. Here's another thing you have to remember about the 210 or San Antonio. It's the 7th largest metro area in the United States. A lot of people don't know that. It's a huge population, 2.5 million here. And they love this football team in only their 12th season of playing. That's Franklin with the catch, and he's got the first down. I mean, look, Aaron, this is just amazing from where they started in 2011.
And when we were talking with Frank Harris, the quarterback, we said, man, can you believe all this? And he says, no, I can't. You guys don't understand how far we've come. When we first started practicing here, our meeting room was basically a trailer where we had equipment behind chain link fence. All the 10 different position groups could all hear each other. It was a mess. Now we've got training table and a state-of-the-art facility. He couldn't believe it.
And now we've got more up-tempo from this Roadrunner offense. They have shifted gears. They've slowed it down. They've sped it up. They really want to dictate to the defense that tempo.
A little bit of a defensive hold there to impede the progress of Zahari Franklin. But Nelson Caesar got there so fast with the left tackle to Tafu. Maybe they didn't have time to throw it. Zach Avenue beating up a little bit.
They've had 1 sack so far. The 2nd and 14 is going to turn into 3rd down and 13.
Got a player down for Houston, Javarius Owens. First team All-American last year. Finished 5th on the team with total tackles. A lot of scouts have him graded as the highest rated player on this Houston team. It's got some talent on it.
Well, Doug Belk, their defensive coordinator, has really done a wonderful job with the defense. Look, any Dana Holgorsen team is going to be thought of as an offensive team. But Belk is somebody that Holgorsen worked with at West Virginia, brought him here, made him the associate head coach. Last year made him the defensive coordinator because he felt like if he didn't promote him to defensive coordinator, someone else was going to. Made a huge financial commitment to him as well, and man, has it paid off.
Yeah, it has, because he was courted pretty heavily in the offseason, most notably by Mario Cristobal, a former co-coach of his at Alabama. All 3 years they were there together. They backed up the truck and gave him a boatload of money. But before the game, he said, I'm going to be patient. I'm waiting for the right situation. And right now, that means me staying put here in Houston.
47-yard line, UTSA. 3rd and long. Harris, a bullet. Caught! First down. Cephas.
Just an incredible job of body control. So difficult as a receiver at full speed to be able to stop and reach behind you on a ball that was behind and stick the landing.
Here's the tempo. Houston trying to make the switch defensively. Didn't have everybody on the field. That's a catch on the sidelines. That's Zachary Franklin.
Flag on the far side of the field, Rich, but a beautiful back shoulder.
Maybe Houston had too many men on the field.
Illegal substitution on the defense. 12 men on the field. Penalties applied. Result of plays, first down.
They like to change defenses like a hockey line change. They'll bring 5 or 6 guys in at a time.
Yeah, but you can't do that when it's on this far side of the field. Just a beautiful job. A little bit of a push off there. I think Art Green's been pretty good in coverage, but you're right. Those hockey changes that you mentioned, that Sherry talked about at the top of the show, got him caught there.
Little head fake. Harris, man open, and he overthrew him. Cephas had his man beat in the end zone.
Rich, I can't tell you how incredibly close this Sac Avenue defense is to getting home over both tackles around the outside. Again, that's the backup, Frankie Martinez. What UTSA is doing extremely well is getting rid of the football extremely quickly, because that rush is getting home.
2nd down, 10. Road runners up a touchdown, driving here, deep in Houston territory. Traylon Smith again. Pounds it inside the 15.
Man, I enjoyed watching this young man in warm-ups. Very different body style than Cecere McCormick, but he's electric. He's dynamic.
Injured player right now for Houston. It's going to slow the tempo down for UTSA.
That's their middle linebacker, Donovan Newton.
This is a really, it feels like, huge sequence here.
The leading tackler last year with 77. 3 forced fumble. The 2nd team all-conference. Big load of laundry. Notice he's only 6 foot tall, 230 pounds. He's got the size, not necessarily the height, but to play middle backer, you don't have to be super tall. You can think Sam Mills, Mike Singletary. There's some athletic dudes on that defense for Houston.
Houston scored the first touchdown of this game. UTSA lit it up in the 2nd quarter, and now a chance to go up by a couple scores, and a really intriguing 3rd down and about 5.
You're Houston. I'm thinking you play a little zone here to account for the quarterback's legs so you don't get hurt there.
Little head fake. Corner throw. He caught it. Clark. Flag down at the 5-yard line. DeCorian Clark. And I think this is going to stand. It will. Touchdown. UTSA. talk about the triangle of toughness. What about the triangle of these three receivers?
You can't throw this ball any better than Frank Harris did. And talk about the concentration there by DeCorian Clark. We've seen him make some great catches. The ball might have been moving a little bit there at the end, but
it out.
Well, it wasn't affecting him really. It was something to keep an eye on. It's just something I noticed. A couple of his balls died on him. A couple of them sailed. But that last pass is as beautiful the ball as I've ever seen him throw. Masterpiece.
We talked about Houston's offense and their struggles. And, of course, UTSA's defense, pretty darn good themselves.
We got to give Jess Lepp's crew a lot of credit. They lost 6 key players, but they were able to rush the passer a year ago, and Clayton Tune has been under duress. The coverage has been good on the backside, but in a game where we thought front sevens were going to be the difference, it's UTSA's that stepped up.
There's Lepp in the middle of the defense. Yards per play, you don't see that very often for a Dana Holgorsen team. Under 4 yards per play. Still plenty of time.
Yes.
And still plenty of weapons for that man and his offensive coordinator, Shannon Dawson.
4 straight 3-and-outs going back to the second half. They got to get something going here.
To the air is Tune. Fires to the sideline. Caught there. And it's Tazon Henry. He's going to gain maybe 4 yards.
They tried to take a shot there on first down. I like it. It took Tune a while, but he finally found Henry as his safety valve out there as a check down in the flat.
We've seen that often. Tune back with time and nobody open. That's amazing. That's amazing when you're trying to guard a guy like Tank Dell, who some would say is unguardable in man-to-man coverage. Dell is stacked up on the top end of your screen there. Henry's going to take the ball to the 38-yard line. And it's going to be 3rd down and 2.
So let's not get it twisted. Houston is an extremely talented team. Watching them warm up, I was down on the field. They look the part. They are the part. But something's been missing. They've got to put these pieces together. The crowd noise has certainly been a factor. But they have the offense to get themselves back in this game, but something hasn't been working. They've been great on 3rd down here, but 4 straight 3-and-outs. Is it going to be another one?
3rd down 2. I don't think he got it. That's Trevor Harmonson with the hit, and that's going to be short.
And if you're Houston, I think you have to go here. They were masterful last year. 26 4th down opportunities that they converted. They're not afraid to throw it here. Quick hitches or swing passes out of the backfield. Yes, they're backed up, but again, so many 3-and-outs. This is a must-have for the Cougs.
That's Dell in motion. Little pitch. Race for the sideline. He's hit. Dropped. Flag is down. Short of the 1st down, but there is a flag down.
Illegal substitution. 12 men on the field on defense.
Wow.
5 yards in the previous spot. Results in a 1st down.
Big call, big mistake by UTSA. And that's a 1st down.
A little bit of their own medicine. If you're a Roadrunner fan, you're pretty frustrated. But if you like the team in red, you're feeling renewed energy. If you're Houston, you're Clayton Tune. You've got to get this going. The punt returners ran off late.
Houston, Clayton Tune and the Cougars at their own 39 on 1st and 10 after the penalty. Provided that 1st down. Tune is going to tuck today. Just 1 catch, and it was a touchdown.
Yeah, and they haven't targeted him very much either, which is the crazy thing. He's only been targeted twice. So UTSA's been playing outstanding on their back end with some new faces. But I'm putting this on Houston. Get the ball to your playmakers.
2nd and 6. They show blitz and come from the corner. Toone's throw to the opposite side. Caught there. That's Golden, and he's got wheels. Golden inside the 20, and a big play for Houston. The Cougars roll into UTSA territory.
This was a great job of Toone getting the ball to Golden. That did a great job of creating space. Boom, he puts his foot into the ground and makes Mayfield, the cornerback who was in coverage, miss, and Houston's marching.
Toone again. Dell with the catch. Slides through. Tank Dell to the 10. That's a gain of 10. He may have a first down.
And if you're Houston, use tempo here. Don't slow this thing down. Nobody's thinking they're just playing. You have better athletes, and you've been able to take advantage of. Use tempo to your advantage.
There's the play selection. Heavy on the run. The two throws have them first and goal from the 10. He'll pull it, he'll throw it, and it's incomplete. Cody Jackson, the intended receiver. Nick Troy Fortune, who's played a whale of a game on the coverage.
He certainly has. He's trailing in man coverage. You have to be right in that hip pocket, and that's exactly what he does. God, you can't throw that ball any better than your Toone. You can't do a better job than that, but the coverage for UTSA was just solid there.
Final half minute, third quarter. Dell in motion. This is Snead. To the 5. Third and goal from the 5.
A 75% chance of scoring if you can stop UTSA in here. But what they really want to do is try to get this ball into the end zone on third down so that they don't have to make that decision.
Oh, wow. Flags down.
Ball start. Offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
And this crowd is exceptionally loud. 37,000 here. There's plenty of Houston fans here, but yeah, this city and this region has fallen in love with this football program, and they are out in number. Still third and goal. Now at the 10. Toone. Time. Back of the end zone. Tank's got it. Touchdown, Houston. Big moment. And a big score.
That's the play they needed. Feed your playmakers. Justin's third target of the game. He's had 2 catches and 2 touchdowns. Just wide open. Every time he catches the ball, it's in space because he's so good at getting himself open. UTSA was soft that time, and Dell made him pay by finding the hole in their defense.
Now down by a touchdown. Dana Holgerson told us Tank Dell man-to-man is unguardable, and that route is a great illustration of that. Time for Toone. And a touchdown for Houston.
After Tuesday ruined Sync lighting to keep working for as long as the job demands. Because a job worth doing is a job worth WeatherGuard.
Here's to those with homework this summer, group projects, and workshops. Here's to those with morning meetings, networking events, and Zoom sessions. Here's to those with summer jobs and the truck that goes to work with them. Ram, built to serve.
Shop and buy online with Ram eShop. where right now get 0% financing for 72 months, plus no monthly payments for 90 days on the 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorn.
The people have spoken. And y'all are going crazy for Papa John's epic pepperoni stuffed crust pizza, because this ain't just any old stuffed crust. No, it's Papa John's signature pepperoni hand stuffed into that Papa John's crust. If you know, you know.
Technically, when enamel is gone, you cannot get it back, but there are ways you can repair it. I'm excited about Pronamel Repair because it penetrates deep into the tooth to help actively repair acid-weakened enamel. I recommend Pronamel Repair to my patients.
Buying a home? Then you've got a lot on your mind. Now rising rates? Phew, it's a lot. But with Rocket, you have an advantage. You can lock your rate for 90 days while you search for a home. If rates rise, yours is safe. But if they fall within 3 years of buying, drop it so you can buy today. That's the Rocket Advantage. Lock your rate today. Call 8336-ROCKET or visit therocketadvantage.com.
Brent Stover in New York, pivotal Week 1 game for Cincinnati at Arkansas. Ben Bryant for Nick Mardner on the touchdown. Bearcats back within a score at 21-14 and just recovered a fumble inside the Arkansas 5, looking to tie the game. Guys, back to you.
All right, Brent, thank you. Cincinnati has lost a lot of talent off that college football playoff team of last year, but they are back. And they've won 11 straight season openers. This is a season opener here for the number 24 team in the country, Houston, and the home team, UTSA. And with a win here today, you would think UTSA would start creeping up on that top 25. They resided for a good part of last year. Out to the 25 for the next possession. For the Roadrunners, Geico Difference Makers. Tank Dell had 2 catches on that drive, has 2 touchdowns. And for UTSA, Frank Harris, 22 of 29 with his arm and his legs.
What an incredible first out for Frank Harris. He's been the star of the game so far. There's still a lot of football to play. But you see what happens to Houston's offense when they get their playmakers involved. They're as good as anybody in the country, but the story has been Frank Harris and this Roadrunner offense and what they've done from the second quarter on.
Traylon Smith to the 27. UTSA doesn't have big, huge running numbers outside of Frank Harris. But on that last drive, they did establish the run and had success in the run game.
And I think they should stay aggressive from a play calling standpoint. Don't get conservative and even start to think about bleeding the clock here. Hit the gas pedal.
Second down, 8. Harris rolls. Little dump off the big man. That's Cardenas. Rumbling down. You're not going to bring him down. 2 tacklers bounce off of him. 275-pound tight end. That's a first down.
I'm telling you, one of the numbers fell off of Cardenas' jersey. There should be a 7 or a 6 or a 5 in front of that 9. He's a big dude and a big target and just moved the sticks pretty effectively.
38-yard line. It's a gain of 11.
Move him out the right time.
Harris pulls it, keeps it, takes a hit. And a gain of 9. Sherry Burris down below. Sherry?
Well, Rich, this UH defense needed that break on that long drive from the offense. Before, they were looking gassed down here on the sideline. Saw a lot of guys eating some of those gummy snacks, getting some extra sports drinks and electrolytes. Even a few of those guys need to be stretched out on the sideline from cramping. And, Aaron, that's kind of not what we expected, that they rotate so many guys.
Exactly, Sherry. We talked about that. They talked to us ad nauseum about it. They prided themselves on keeping everybody fresh, but UTSA, to their credit, has been wearing them out.
It's going to be a first down of about 3 yards. Sherry Burris down below. We saw in that last drive, this crowd has really affected signal callers. What's it sound like down there?
Well, if I take out my earpiece so I can also hear you guys in the booth, I can barely hear myself talking. I'm seeing fans putting their hands up to their mouths, leaning over. It's kind of hard to hear down here as we expected. These fans really making an impact.
All right, thank you. Yeah, even the UTSA coaches told us yesterday they have trouble communicating to players who are on the field. And 10 or 12 feet away from them.
Yeah, and defensively, that can cause some problems. They said when we went back and looked at it, our own crowd noise, when we're on defense, we gave up 3 big plays last season because we couldn't talk to each other.
Harris. And Cephas, the intended receiver. Good coverage there by Jace Rogers.
And I want to go back to what we were talking about this line rotation from this defensive line. See how fast Frank Harris is getting rid of that football. But these D linemen are still rushing, so it's almost like a perpetual 2-minute situation. They're rushing, they're rushing, they're rushing, they're so close. But Frank Harris getting rid of the football has been frustrating and equally as effective.
They play 12 on the defensive line. That ball straight up in the air. That might be picked. It is. Nelson Caesar with the football. Caesar up the right side. And a huge play for Houston. Sack Avenue didn't get the sack, but they caused the interception.
Brendan Brady's going to get run over. Just not a good effort there. Drops his head. The ball gets tipped as Derek Parrish gets there with his bad hand, forces it up to Nelson Caesar as playmaker, and Houston defense with that pass rush comes up big time when needed most.
What a big play for Houston. And a nice hustle tackle, maybe to save 6 by Jonathan Cephas.
And a little bit of a scuffle now out on the field, getting chippy out there. But my question is, if you're UTSA, why are you going to put your back on one of the best pass rushers in this conference?
Remember the report, the open of our telecast, Sherry reporting that Derek Parrish playing with a broken bone in his hand and a cast on his hand. Didn't slow him down there.
Bell stacked up top.
Toon. Time and oh, it's gone! Sliding catch, man-jack, touchdown, Houston. Joseph Manjack IV, the transfer from USC. As good a catch as you'll see on this Saturday.
2 targets, 2 catches. Beautifully thrown football. Because it's thrown so early, Manjack can't bring it in right away. But because Toon gets rid of it, he gives him a chance to be able to tip it, to try to stop it. And look at that concentration as Manjack brings the touchdown in that could possibly tie this thing up.
Conduct, number 75 in the offense. That foul will be enforced on the kickoff. It's 75's first unsportsmanlike of the game.
Excessive celebration enforced on the kickoff. Clayton Toon suddenly has rhythm. And he has brought Houston almost even. And now it is 21 apiece. Sack Avenue, not a lot of sacks, but this is a huge play. A lot of football still to be played here. This is a wonderful atmosphere, a fun game. 21 apiece. Houston, the last 2 scores.
Another mistake.
Free kick out of bounds. Ball be placed 30 yards advance in the kickoff spot, the 50-yard line. First down, UTSA.
Let's check in with Sherry Burris. Sherry?
Derek Parrish was pumped up after this play, guys. He pointed to me once he got back to the sideline and said to me twice, "You see that?" And he's making his defensive coordinator, Doug Belk, look really good. Pre-game, he told me because of Parrish's broken right hand, he's having him line up on the defensive right side of the ball about 80% of the time. So, Eric, he's out there making the most with that free hand that he has.
There's no question about that, and that's his inside hand to stab. You want that strength. You can slap and can't really grab for arm unders, but he's a power type player, so if he can maintain leverage with that inside hand, it gives him the best shot, and boy, did he make the most of it there.
2 penalties, though. The excessive celebration moved the kick back. It went out of bounds, so they get it at the 50, and the throw for Cardenas is incomplete. It's second down and 10 right at midfield. And Harris says, my bad on that throw.
Not so good here in the second half for UTSA, and the flip side of that is Houston after half. Back-to-back 3-and-outs to start, but their last 2 drives, 10 total plays, 2 touchdowns. Things have appeared to shade, but UTSA's got the ball here at midfield because of the excessive celebration and the kick out of bounds.
Quick throw in traffic, caught by Franklin, and he wiggles his way to a first down to the 39-yard line.
Really nice job by Zachary Franklin here. He's had a couple drops. That ball hit his belly again, but he keeps his leg going, and because Green tries to throw him, he actually throws him past the sticks. As a defender, you want to try to drive him backwards to make this be third down here. Instead, UTSA's moving.
Cephas in motion, and a timeout. Harris didn't
Second
like
charge,
the look, neither
timeout
did the sideline.
UTSA.
Jeff
30
Traylor
seconds.
calls the timeout. Well, you've got a program that has seemingly come out of nowhere in UTSA. Last year, they occupied the top 25 for about a 6 or 7 week window. Won Conference USA championship. Of course, Houston was 12-2 last year. They're headed to the Big 12 next year. Haven't lost a game here in the Alamo Dome since 2020. Haven't lost a season opener since 2018. They've never defeated a top 25 opponent. Look, they've only been around 12 years, so they've only had 8 shots at it. 21 apiece.
There's something to be said if they can beat this Houston team. Whoever's going to walk out of here will have earned the win today, and both of these teams have that capacity to do so. If UTSA can somehow beat this stacked Houston team, then it warrants them replacing them in the top 25.
Dana Holgerson had nothing but praise for this UTSA team yesterday. Same with Jeff Traylor talking about Houston. A lot of respect. Oh, blow it up. DeAnthony Jones, known as a pass rusher. He's a 4-down player this year.
He's so twitchy. His his ability to time the snap and get off the football is incredible. You cannot let him go there. They were hoping to leave him unblocked and time it up so that he beats leverage. Cephas does on the outside, but 44 said, not on my watch.
Loss of 4. Play action Harris. Rush is a big one, and he overthrows Clark. Alex Hogan on the coverage.
Houston running what you call there a green dog, a delayed blitz. If the backer can come and his guy stays in the block, there was pressure in Harris's face immediately. And there's another high pass. 3rd and 14 here. Not the easiest conversion. UTSA, if they can get this close, may have a chance at 4-down territory. It's going to be tough.
Movement, flags, and whistles.
It might be Jace Rogers, the nickel.
Offside. Defense, number 6 with contact. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Doug Belk told us that he's the team comedian. Here he is right here. But there's nothing funny about this. The percentages of converting with the differences between those 3rd and 14 to 3rd and 9 are almost astronomical. Still not high percentage here. So if this rush can get home, that's what they want.
3-man rush. Time for Harris. Flushed, throws, incomplete.
Wow,
that was Cephas and Rogers on the coverage.
What an incredible play by Jace Rogers to respond after the mental error, to be in that tight coverage. And now you're UTSA. You're going to try to pooch punt this thing. They did a very good job getting it inside the 1-yard line before. With the pooch punt, maybe they can do so again here with their actual punter.
Yeah, Brendan Brady, who wears the same number as Lucas Dean, the punter, who's the guy, is a running back who had the little pooch kick. So now the real punter is out. We'll see how he does. On the other one, long way to go here. 95 of those yards. Clayton Tune and Houston. Brandon Campbell in the backfield, bounces outside, fires out across the 10, gain of 5. Houston's offense caught gear early in the second quarter and then really struggled from that point until those last 2 scores.
Houston's rushed the ball 30 times tonight and only thrown 18 passes. This is an offense and a quarterback that threw for 3,500 yards and 30 touchdowns last season.
Tune is 12 of 18, 140 yards. Scrambling in his end zone. Racing for the sideline, and he's out of bounds. He's faster than you think, although he looks like he stepped out of bounds back at the 10-yard line.
Keep your eye on the wide receivers at the top. When we were talking to defensive coordinator Jess Lepp, he said when it comes time for the scramble drill, these guys are the best we've ever seen. But UTSA was ready for it there, and that's why Tune had to run out of bounds. This Roadrunner D's been outstanding on the back end today.
And Sherry talked about the noise on these third downs for the offense of Houston is tough to handle. Tune's in trouble. Tightrope walk escapes. Fires for a first down. How about that? Impressive stuff. Stacy Sneed out of the backfield. Stayed in the pattern. The scramble drill again.
They're going to bring the blitz from the next level, and they fall back inside. So there was an unblocked rusher from the outside. But Tune's mobility gets him outside. He keeps his eyes down the field and moves the sticks.
That was a near disaster. He's been a fourth-quarter player in his career.
Cougars fans are thinking Tune's got UTSA right where he wants him.
67 career touchdowns for Tune. He's among the greats. Case Keenum, Kevin Cobb, Andre Ware, David Klingler. It's a great legacy at that position. Greg Ward in Houston Cougar history.
Ball start. Offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Penalty moves the ball back to the 18-yard line to receive first down.
Dana Holgerson, 12-2 last year. Really the first year he could dig into this program. A lot of changes his first year. COVID his second year. Last year, 12-2. And an 8-0 record in the American. Lost on the road at Cincinnati in the championship game. Tune, little screen. Christian Trahan, the tight end, to the 21. It's a gain of maybe 3.
Really nice job that time defensively by UTSA. That play had a chance, but because they're closing to the football so quickly with that great effort, that key piece of that triangle, it takes what had a chance to be a run that could break into a couple-yard gain. Now Houston, because of the penalty on first down, is looking at a second and pretty long here.
Sneed is the best receiver of the running backs. He's back there with Tune. 4-man rush. Who steps in? That's Tank Dell. Big hit by Dadrian Taylor. Stops Dell at the 30. It's going to be third down and about 3.
They're going to look at Tank Dell just breaking off, completely vacated from the middle. But again, there's that pursuit. Talk about Dadrian Taylor. He was a backup to Clarence Hicks a season ago.
Corey Mayfield Jr., a corner. Slow to get up. And with the trainers on the field, he's coming off. UTSA, it's something to think about with 7:15 left. As you see Mayfield come off. Much like Houston did in the first half, UTSA has used 2 timeouts and has 1 left.
It's the opposite of the situation we saw in the first half with Houston.
They're down 3. Blitz comes. Throws to the pressure. Man-jack the catch. First down, Houston. 41-yard line. Chains move.
So funny, man. These teams are almost mirror images of each other, as we've got an injured Trevor Harmonson returning Mike Backer. What they did to them early on in the first half. Short control passes, getting rid of the football quickly.
From the 41, Toon. Lots of time. Great coverage. Toon fires short, the tight end Trahan. And he forges ahead. He landed at the 49, but it looks like he stepped out of bounds back at the 45.
Excellent protection by this offensive line. Beautiful. Can't do anything better than that. And Toon, very smartly, with nowhere to go with the football, leaves the pocket, and then it becomes a scramble drill right there, and he finds his big tight end on the sidelines for the coveted 2nd and 5.
See the drive, 7 plays. Clock is under 6 minutes. They did mark it at the 45. 2nd and 6. Toon, sideline again. Caught there. Good second effort. And a first down. Brandon Campbell, a running back, made a couple tacklers miss, and he's got the first down.
That was Rashad Wisdom on the tackle. We haven't talked much about him tonight, but after the missed tackle, you see Wisdom there with the big hit to get him down. He's almost like a middle linebacker that plays safety on the back end there, but we've got an injured Joe Evans down now for UTSA. You hope he's okay, but man, Wisdom is such an important player, wearing that coveted and honorable 0 on the back end of that defense.
The trainer kind of flexing that leg. And you would think this is the opener for both teams. You're into the 4th quarter, though the climate is somewhat controlled here. Let's watch Evans all the way to the bottom of the screen. It's a point of emphasis this year. Players feigning injury. It's still something that officials can't really enforce or call, but I mean, it's something that they're trying to pay a lot more attention to.
Yeah, so Houston can turn that play in and have it reviewed by the conference.
Yeah, you're right. It's post-game that any punishment would come for that. Toon going deep, and it is deflected and incomplete. Wow! What a nice play by Mayfield.
You can never question Clayton Toon's toughness. He took a shot here, all-out blitz, both backers, bam, as he throws the football. He got hammered there. Just a nice job of Corey Mayfield, who left the game a couple plays earlier being banged up, to get his hand on it in 2nd and 10. Now, the statistics will tell you that the play call, 2nd and 10 after an incompletion, is some sort of run here to give yourself a makeable 3rd down. So that's what UTSA is going to be expecting.
Five minutes left. Toon scrambling, setting, look out, fires it, got hit, and it's incomplete.
Nice job that time by Trey Moore to pull up there at the very end. It's been a chippy game. Toon breaks the pocket. It becomes a scramble drill. But Trey Moore's right there by the sidelines, pulls up as soon as he sees them let it go, and it was right in front of the official. That's smart play.
Third down, decibels rising. Under 5 minutes, 21-21.
You're a UTSA fan. You want that blitzing pressure to get home here. If you're Houston, you go the football quickly.
Blitz comes. Toon steps through it. And he's got room. He's 40. Toon dives inside the 35. Down to the 33. First down, Houston.
And what's incredible about this is that this was zone coverage. They had eyes on the quarterback. We saw Frank Harris for UTSA hurt the defense with his legs. This time, it's Toon time.
The 33. Toon again. Hit as he throws. Sideline incomplete. Ball way out of bounds. And UTSA starting to get to him. I believe that was Brandon Brown.
Just beautiful coverage. Gets smacked.
Actually, it's Jamal Ligon.
Ligon getting home, but Toon's hanging in there, man. But these defensive backs are being so aggressive. They're trying to reroute the receivers to make them play physical football out on the perimeter, and both sets of defensive backs are doing an excellent job. The noise causing communication. Down here, they didn't really know what was going on. It's hard to hear when you're in press coverage.
Brandon Campbell inside the 30. The 28-yard line. This is a great football state of Texas. These rosters are populated heavily with many of the great high school towns across this state. You've got the history, certainly, with UTSA's Jeff Traylor and his legacy as a high school coach. And this community, there really wasn't a major college football program here in the 7th largest metro area in the country in San Antonio until Larry Coker started this 12 years ago. This is just the 12th season of this program. Traylor took over 2 years ago. This is his 3rd season. Conference championship last year. Top 25 most of the year. Beautiful new facility that they built for all of athletics, especially football, on their campus. Big crowd for the opener. And a chance to take down, for the first time, a top 25 opponent. And oh, by the way, it's Houston, 188 miles from the Alamo Dome. And number 24 who's here.
Coverage, got to bring a safety over here.
UTSA has called their final timeout.
Timeout of the half. UTSA, 30 seconds.
So that's huge, Rich, and that's miscommunication. There's been a couple busts on this defensive back end. And you see Jeff Traylor, he can't be happy with that. You had the injury timeout to talk about things, but this is what I was pointing out. There's no safety over the top. If 10 comes inside, he runs free. They know it. 10's trying to signal to him. Matthew Golden saying, hey, man, look at me. He's got his right hand out there trying to signal. And UTSA has to take its coveted last timeout. And that is huge late in the 4th quarter of a tie ball game when you've got an explosive offense inside the 30-yard line with only 4 minutes left.
And on 3rd down and 5, it's worth noting that Houston's field goal kicker, Bubba Baxa, has got a big leg. And they are well within his range right now.
When I was in Green Bay, we led the league in red zone scoring multiple times because we were aggressive. This is not the area to get conservative. It is 3rd medium, so you do want to convert here. But you don't want this game to come down to Bax's leg.
Third down 5. Toon's going to keep it. Weaves his way for a first down. And he dives to the 20.
What a great play call by Shannon Dawson. This is a run all the way, a quarterback counter. Something they don't dial up very often, but when they needed it, it was there, and it's a fresh set of downs. Now if you're Houston, with UTSA with no timeouts, this is where you want to be able to run the football to try to bleed that clock a little bit, but you can't be too conservative here. It's a fine line to walk for Houston right now.
Just outside the red zone. This two receivers stacked on each side has been a popular formation on this drive.
Great use of the clock.
Again, Tune. This time slides inside the 20. And now the clock is under 3 minutes left.
You're done. You can bleed this clock.
Trevor Harmonson is down again. Remember, he was down earlier on this drive, came back in.
It's going to be the one that comes in at the very end right there.
He's holding the same spot. Harmonson had a huge year last year, as many of the Roadrunners did. This is an interesting spot right now for Houston. Look, they're in a great position with the football just inside the 20 in a tie game with an opponent that's out of timeouts. Ideally, you'd love to run as much time off the clock before you score, but sometimes you can't choose that. They're going to need another first down. Obviously, if they stick it in the end zone, they'd be happy with that.
You can run almost another 2 minutes off the clock. Each down you get 40 seconds. This ball should start on the wind to play, and there it goes. So it's ticking down. So Clayton Tune snapped the ball in the previous play at 4 seconds. He should do the same thing here. Without an ability to stop the clock, he can take 40 seconds off another 3 plays in a row. Excuse me, 2 plays. Math is hard.
Clock is under 10, the play clock. Now the snap. Handoff, big play.
Oh, he didn't go down.
Campbell stays up. Now he's down. Wow. Finally running him down was Nick Troy Fortune. Campbell with that arm got that hand in the turf and stayed up. Whoa. Oh, that knee did go down.
They're going to have to take a look at where this spot is,
right,
and how much time is on the clock.
That knee's
when
down.
He went down.
They have not stopped it yet. The replay booth has not called down to stop it, but it looks like that knee is clearly down, and the clock is still going as well.
Go.
So now it's under review.
The ruling on the field, the runner down is under further review.
All right, here's a question, Aaron Taylor. If they say his knee went down, do they go back and look at the clock and put time back on the clock? I would think so.
I think you have to. There's no question about that. Just an excellent effort by him to try to stay up, and with the naked eye, it looked like he did, but clearly that knee is down, and you've got to look at the clock, so sync up the plays with one that shows the clock, because seconds matter, especially for UTSA. There were another 6 or 7 seconds here. Boom.
2:18, that's a ton of time.
Yes, it is.
That's almost 40. Math is hard. That's over 40 seconds. How's that?
It's 10 seconds is
all right, you're right. The clock doesn't stop there.
That extra little part.
So they,
after further review, the runner's elbow was down 26-yard line by the right hash. 3rd down.
And I think that discussion is right now about the clock. So do you give them the time it took him to go from his knee to where he was tackled? Is that traceable by the booth?
They're still discussing this. That's what they've got to sort out here. By my math, it should be 2:18. They're going to have to adjust this clock. Houston and Dana Holgorsen would love it to stay at 1:32, but I don't think it is.
Well, they're going to wind the clock 25 seconds.
Wow. That's a minute of time difference here. Advantage Houston.
Big third down here. And now Houston's calling a timeout.
First charge, timeout of the half. Houston, 30 seconds.
It feels like there should have been more time put on the clock, but there wasn't. 1:12 left. Third down, 50. Coming up next, headed back to New York. The latest news and highlights around the nation. Inside college football right here on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Brent, Kevin, and Coach Houston Nutt standing by. We are in San Antonio for what has been a really fun game here. Number 24 Houston and UTSA, darlings of last year, champions of Conference USA last year. Jeff Traylor has done a miraculous job of taking this program to heights that nobody could have imagined just 3 years ago. Clayton Tune is a great fourth quarter player, and he is showing it here. This drive has them in field goal range. UTSA is without a timeout, and this is third down and 15.